This is USA News Hub, the heart of American sports. Subscribe for power, passion, and champions. What does championship mentality really look like when the pressure is at its highest? On a loud Melbourne night, with momentum swinging wildly and nerves stretched thin, Coco Gauff once again proved why she belongs among tennis's elite. This was not a routine win. This was not dominance from start to finish. This was resilience, belief, and a young superstar refusing to blink when everything was on the line. Tonight, we break down how Coco Gauff survived another three-set war, defeated Karolina Muchova yet again, and marched into the Australian Open quarterfinals, stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than ever. A champion tested under fire. Under the bright lights of Melbourne Park, third seed Coco Gauff faced a familiar yet dangerous opponent in Karolina Muchova, a player known for her creativity, variety, and ability to disrupt rhythm. What followed was a gripping three-set encounter that tested Gauff's patience, her serve, her mental strength, and ultimately her championship instincts. The final scoreline read 6-1, 3-6, 6-3, but numbers alone failed to capture the drama, momentum swings, and emotional intensity that defined this Australian Open fourth-round battle. With this victory, Goff not only advanced to the quarterfinals but also extended her perfect head-to-head record against Machova to 5-0, reinforcing a psychological edge that continues to grow with every encounter. Set 1. Coco Gauff's statement of intent. From the very first ball, Coco Gauff looked locked in. She exploded out of the gate, playing with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Her footwork was sharp, her ground strokes penetrated the court, and her return game immediately put Muchova under pressure. Within just 20 minutes, Goff surged to a commanding 5-0 lead, leaving the crowd stunned by the sheer pace and authority of her tennis. Muchova, who entered the match with 2 top 10 wins in Brisbane, struggled to find any rhythm. Goff attacked second serves, stepped inside the baseline, and dictated rallies with a ruthless efficiency rarely seen so early in a match. Even when Muchova finally got on the board in the sixth game, the damage was already done. Goff calmly served out the set 6-1, closing it with precision and confidence. This opening set felt like a message, not just to Muchova, but to the entire draw. Tennis, however, is rarely linear, and the second set, Karolina Muchova adjusted. She began mixing slices, drop shots, and off-pace balls, forcing Goff to think instead of react. The result was a noticeable shift. Goff's serve wavered, double faults crept in, and Muchova capitalized with 2 timely breaks to establish a 4-1 lead. For the first time in their 5 meetings, Muchova seized control. What stood out in this set was Goff's visible frustration. She frequently turned toward her player box, searching for reassurance and clarity as errors began to mount. When Muchova stepped up to serve for the set, she showed composure, serving to love and leveling the match at 1 set apiece. For the first time ever, Muchova had taken a set off Coco Gauff. The mental battle. Why this match was different. This was not just about strokes and tactics. This was a mental examination. Many young players panic when momentum shifts against them at a Grand Slam. But Goff's post-match words revealed her growth. She admitted she didn't panic, a statement that speaks volumes about her evolution as a competitor. Instead of rushing shots or abandoning her game plan, Goff recalibrated. She recognized that opportunities still existed and trusted that patience would bring rewards. And that mindset changed everything. Set 3. Goff's championship response. From the opening game of the decider, Coco Gauff came out swinging, but with control. She forced errors from Muchova, stepped up her return position, and broke early to seize a 4-1 advantage. What followed was one of the most thrilling games of the match. In the 7th game, both players engaged in long, physically demanding rallies. The momentum swung back and forth as the crowd roared with every exchange. Then came the moment. Goff unleashed a fearless backhand winner, clean, powerful, and perfectly timed, before letting out an emphatic scream that echoed through the stadium. T was the roar of belief. The roar of release. The roar of a player who knew the finish line was within reach. Closing the door. Pressure moments under control. Muchova, to her credit, refused to fold. She saved 3 match points, forcing Goff to earn every inch of progress. These were pressure moments, the exact situations that define careers, and Goff delivered. Trusting her second serve, committing fully to her shots, and refusing to retreat, she closed out the match to book her place in the Australian Open quarterfinals. After the match, Goff highlighted her improved confidence in her second serve, calling it a stepping stone toward long-term consistency. That insight reveals how deeply she understands her game and where growth still lies. Head-to-head dominance. Why Muchova is a matchup Goff owns. 5 matches. 5 wins. 0 losses. For all of Muchova's variety and creativity, Goff has consistently found solutions. Her athleticism neutralizes drop shots, her backhand absorbs pace, and her defensive speed turns offense into risk. Even more impressive is the historical trend. Goff has gone on to win every tournament in which she defeated Muchova, including her iconic 2023 U.S. Open title. That pattern alone should send chills through the rest of the field. Bigger picture. What this win means for Coco Gauff. This was not her cleanest performance. It was not her most dominant, but it may have been one of her most important. Why? Because champions win even when things aren't perfect. Goff showed resilience, adaptability, patience, and belief, qualities that separate contenders from champions in the later stages of Grand Slams. She advances deeper into the tournament. This battle-tested win could become the foundation of an even greater run. Australian Open quarterfinal stakes. With the quarterfinals ahead, pressure only increases. Matches become shorter on margins, mistakes become more costly, and belief becomes everything. Coco Gauff isn't just surviving anymore, she's learning how to win ugly, win tough, and win smart, skills that define legends, not just stars. At just 21 years old, Coco Gauff continues to redefine expectations. This victory wasn't about raw power or flashy winners. It was about endurance. It was about growth. It was about refusing to panic when the tide turns. And as Melbourne watches on, one thing is clear, Coco Gauff is no longer the future of tennis. She is the present. Make sure you subscribe to USA News Hub United States. More breaking news. More powerful stories. More champions. Coming your way. See you soon.